Not many people know as much as you might think about FDR. We went around and asked some classmates what they knew about FDR and the Little White House.
Hey, I'm Molly.
Hey, I'm Caleb.
What do you guys know about Franklin Delano Roosevelt and the Little White House?
His leg didn't work, and he lived in Warm Springs,
Lived in
Georgia.
Warm Springs.
There's a campground about it now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Amelia. I'm Ayla. So, what do you guys know about Franklin Delano Roosevelt and the Little White House?
Pick it.
Okay.
He
was the president. I know that. Yeah, and he had polio. Yeah.
I'm Abby. I'm Lily.
I'm Riley.
What do you know about FDR and the Little White House?
Okay, so he had polio. It was like a replica. Wait, no, it's the house, right? And I saw a toilet in there once, and it looked really old. And his bed was there. It was a twin bed.
Yeah. I think I remember the guy saying he died in that house or something. Nobody in the world knew he had polio. He hid it from everybody for a long time.
He was on a wheelchair.
No, he wasn't.
he
He was
married
on
his
life
cousin.
splints. Sorry.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Miles.
My name is Tucker.
What do you know about Franklin Delano Roosevelt and the Little White House?
So the Little White House is in Warm Springs, Georgia, and they got these warm springs down there that used to help with his polio. But he also used the house so that he could sneak his side piece down there and cheat on his wife. But yeah, I mean he also kind of died down there while he was getting his portrait little painted down there.
He had to do what he had to do to stay functioning, with polio. It was very hard for him, so.
Being a president with polio, you couldn't show that you had disabilities or anything like that. And so he was, he had to do what he could.
Hey guys, my name's Molly. I'm Evelyn.
What do you know about the Little White House and Franklin Delano Roosevelt?
You go to Evelyn.
It had pools in it, and it had the people with polio. Yeah, it fixed them.
Yeah.
Not many people know about FDR's presidency, his life, his struggle with poliovirus, and the legacy he left behind in Georgia.
The Little White House is located in Warm Springs, Georgia. It was owned by the United States of America's 32nd President, Franklin D. Roosevelt. The house was built in 1932. Franklin Delano Roosevelt piloted the country successfully through two major events, the Great Depression and World War I. Franklin Delano Roosevelt attended Harvard University, then went on to Columbia Law School.
Governor Roosevelt, soon to be President Roosevelt, was diagnosed with a pandemic of polio in 1912. When he discovered Warm Springs, he would go there to rest and find the strength to resume his political career. It was also a positive outlet for his own personal struggle.
Because President Roosevelt had polio for most of his political career, he was unable to pursue an active career. So his wife Eleanor made political appearances on his behalf. She kept his name alive in Democratic circles. Because of her appearances in 1928, Roosevelt was elected governor of New York, which was a strong start to his astonishing political career.
President Roosevelt had the disease polio, which affected his presidency, the way he governed, and his political status. Polio is a disabling and life-threatening disease caused by the polio virus. The virus spreads from person to person and can infect a person's spinal cord, causing paralysis, which means a person cannot move parts of their body. Polio in the 1930s was a deadly disease and extremely contagious, and there was no exact cure at the time.
Today we visited the Little White House. The property was purchased by the Roosevelt family in 1923. However, the house was built in 1932.
This car was given to FDR on his 58th birthday in 1940. It was a custom-built Willys Roadster. There's hand controls, but there was no documentation of him driving the car.
This was FDR's other car, the Ford. It was the one he was actually documented driving. And he would drive around Warm Springs, meeting people and having conversations with the people in Georgia. The way the car works is it is controlled by hand controls, and the people that were building the cars would make precise measurements of the levers and the client to make sure the levers were the right way that the client could drive easily. The way the controls worked was on the right, the lever would control the clutch and the brake, and on the left, it would control the gas. FDR's braces were made at the same place as the wheelchair. They were made of steel and weigh about 8 to 10 pounds each. The back of each brace was painted to disguise the fact that FDR was actually wearing braces.
Is to speak to the whole of America. Until 4:30 o'clock this morning, I had hoped against hope that some miracle would prevent a devastating war in Europe and bring to an end the invasion of Poland by Germany. For 4 long years, a succession of actual wars and constant crises have taken the entire world.
This is an example of the FDR's fireside chats. It is where FDR would comfort the people of the United States and he would outline the New Deal. These chats came at a time where the American citizens needed to hear from their leader, Roosevelt. He spoke words that could mobilize, calm, and inspire.
These are the servants' quarters of the Little White House. FDR's 3 main servants, Lizzie McDuffie, Irvin McDuffie, and Daisy McGaffey Bonner, stayed here.
So, what are some of the most important events of FDR's presidency that happened in this house?
The most important thing, honestly, that happened in the house would be his death, I think. You know, it was a world-changing event. He died April 12th, 1945. That was about 3 weeks before the German surrender. And just the nation being in such a war state at the time. So the nation was pretty fragile at the time, being years into the war, and you know, millions of men and women having died in service of the country and all around the world because of the war. So for the country to lose its president so quick like that, it was a major moment, and it was felt not just in the United States but internationally. The other important thing I would say that was done here in the House specifically was he approved the Towards UN stamps, which were stamps of UN founding member nations' flags, which the UN was a big thing that him and Eleanor were working on and working with. So the Stamp Act kind of helped make it a more commonly known thing to the rest of the American public.
I'm Angela, and I'm one of the interpretive rangers here at the Roosevelt's historic site, and we're specifically in the Historic Pools Museum. And here you can see Roosevelt when he was stricken by polio when he was 39 years old. He was trying different therapies, and the one that was the most successful was down here in Warm Springs. And so, since it was successful for him, he started the Warm Springs Polio Foundation in 1927. And then once he was governor of New York, he gave the responsibility over to his business partner, Basil O'Connor, another attorney, his law business attorney. And so he carried it on through Roosevelt's death. But Roosevelt, when he was the governor of New York, changed the name or made the outreach of Georgia Warm Springs Foundation to the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, and then hired at his now foundation medical directors and therapists to treat those that had polio. And then after his death, the foundation, under the guidance of O'Connor, funded different universities to research a possible vaccine. And so Dr. Salk was the doctor at the University of Pittsburgh, and he discovered that there was 3 types of polio vaccine. Type 1 and type 2 left you paralyzed to some degree in your extremities, your arms and your legs, and type 3 vaccine paralyzed your lungs.